set up right now. You gonna go to bed or you gonna work?
I'm gonna do a couple things and maybe call Rachel.
All right. Well, I'll text you when I'm done. But
Okay.
you're the best. You're so special.
You're the best. I love talking to you.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
What's
Are
up?
you home?
I'm home.
You guys been in New York or no?
Yeah, we were there last weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun. Were you there too?
I was upstate though. I was up at like Finger Lakes.
Gotcha. Did you have a good time?
Doing some lake life.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
That's cool. You been good?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Learning my new life. It's nice.
Yeah.
In a very, very different way.
Yeah. I mean, kind of the opposite of what you had been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
Good for you.
Let's see.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm just practicing my puppet show that I've created. I'm just working on the character right now.
Oh, perfect. How exciting. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Here, stay. Sorry, I'll be in darkness for a minute, but I'll be back.
Let's see. Season 3 of Zoe is going to start September 5th. So from now until then, we'll just be meeting, doing the real raw flawed stuff. But back on, it's got an email today. Season 3 will start September 5th, Monday, September 5th, or Sunday. Is it Sunday? I don't know.
Sunday.
Yeah. So we almost have a month off of Zoe Connect groups. But doesn't mean we won't be talking about the message every week. They don't take off Sundays. Let's see what else. I'll send you guys all a link too of the new sign up and the link they're doing and all that stuff once we're done today.
Awesome.
Speaking of that, we were talking about last week, Carrie. I think Brandon asked again about like gathering, and
Yeah.
if that was going to be a thing anymore. And I said, just, who knows? I mean, as far as I've been speaking, I know you speak, Jack, as far as we've all been speaking about it, really no plans, right? And that's kind of where I've left it. But, we all talked and discussed about, I think Brandon's pretty interested in trying to figure out something back in Scottsdale again. And
Cool.
I think he wants to take the task of like finding a spot and trying to maybe develop it again.
Cool.
And
Yep.
And see if Chad will, come. I mean, it's really just about him showing up, right?
Absolutely.
And have everything organized for him to say yes. I think at this point, I think he just this season taking on everything, the Connect group growth.
Yeah.
They've been taking on a lot with the church, finding space in LA.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's been on their priority list at the top.
It's probably true.
But I think if, somebody took initiative there and Brandon wanted to get it going there and find a spot, I think maybe that it could be considered again. Well, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm totally for it. I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think we had such a good group there of people that were getting
We did.
involved.
Had momentum and
Yeah.
everything was so great.
There were so many people that were just loving it, and
Yeah, for
I've seen a lot of those faces,
Yeah.
And we had like 60 some people that, were enjoying it. So
Yeah, definitely.
we'll see what he comes up with. Sorry there. I just muted you for a second there, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Just chilling at the pool, trying to stay cool.
I hear that. All right, yeah, we'll get cruising here. Let me this week kind of just like came at me out of this eyes wide open thought just kind of came at me of I'm just sharing with Carrie, just kind of figuring out my new life and how to live it and live it in a different way than I used to. I mean, everything I used to do was driven based off of business and pushing my goals of building a company and a business and all that stuff. It was like very driven on that side of things and less about like paying attention to personal time or really anything around me. I guess like really embracing the things that I was even blessed to be a part of. Like I've done a lot of stuff in my lifetime. I feel like I've lived a life and a half already in my experience and where I've gone to go and the people and just everything. It's been crazy, but this is the first time in my life I've like had time to catch up on what that meant and the moments I wasn't really present in them. I thought that was just part of, I'm working hard. This is all just what it is. It's part of it. And it's not, I'll tell you that it has nothing to do with it. I mean, so many people work their tails off every single day. And don't get to experience anything besides working their tail off and trying to survive. And I know I took a lot of it for granted because I just wasn't witnessing it. My eyes weren't open to what was in front of me. It was more, I was so focused on the path, what I was doing, that I thought this was just all part of it. And yeah, that's supposed to happen. I was just cruising. And now, all this time I've had to like, I say not working, but I'm working on myself, which is way harder than my job ever was. I thought my job was the hardest I've ever pushed myself, but I would say now that job was a cakewalk. Working on myself, I think it's the hardest thing to do. I think it's the hardest thing to look at yourself and say that you need to work on yourself. One, I think it's probably the hardest thing for people to do, to admit that you have fault, to admit you have weaknesses, to admit that you need work, that you need to spend time on you. I think it's a hard thing to do. It's definitely easier to run in the other direction from, especially for me. So I think in this season of my life, I've had a lot of time on my hands, which is something I have despised in my past. Like, don't offer me time off. I won't, I'm not down for it. Don't ask me to go on vacation, because if I do go with you, I'm probably going to find something to do that's related to my work while we're there. I'm like, oh, what city are we going to? I can stop here, and here while we're in town. And it just was something I didn't like, because if I shut that off, then I had to force myself to look at me. And then I knew that I would have to go on this road of like, okay, I need some work. Do I have time for that? So the season of my life's been very interesting. I've been spending a lot of time like at lakes. Amber lives on the lake where I've been staying, had a lot of time up there with her, and, she has internet in the house, but once you leave the door, there's nothing, which is interesting. I mean, it seems stupid to even say out loud, like that's a thing, but it is a thing today. To not have access, walking 5 feet, and then have zero access to the world, which you've been accustomed to, immediate access, no more leaving a voicemail and hoping someone gets back to you. It's like you call somebody, if they don't pick up, you're upset. It's like I used to leave messages when I was a kid, and like you didn't hear from people for 3 days, or their parents erased it and they never even got the message. It's like don't use my tape. They only had one tape at their house. Parents got pissed if you left too many messages. So I think that's where I've been at. I've been trying to spend 3 or 4 days a week and going somewhere. I went to Seneca and up to the Finger Lakes this week, and I've been trying to keep my eyes wide open to what is in front of me and how blessed am I to be experiencing it, and what like freedom really is. Like I'm having the opportunity right now to do this. Like it's crazy to be able to sit by a lake and just look out the natural beauty and like have no restriction on time, have no pressure built up, have no anxiety about if I missed emails or a call or texting somebody back. I've been trying to, without being insulting, be on my own terms with stuff and not feel like I'm trapped to the service of other people. Like I want to be in service for other people. I want to live in the world where I'm doing more for you than you can do for me. But I also don't want to be in a spot where it's giving me anxiety to if I don't respond or if I'm not always there, if I'm not always available. Because if I'm always available for everybody else, I'm not available for myself. And that's what I think worked for me. So when I say like eyes wide open, it's like I want to that's like right in front of my face and accept for the first time that it's like it's a blessing, literally, you know, from waking up to having choice every day to deciding if I what I want to do with the day. It's insane. It's like it's a different world for me. So I think practicing more of what you're getting out of what you're putting in is huge. I think we all can sit here and talk about, you know, how hard we're working and what time we put into a day or supporting family or an idea or a career or a relationship. But do you take the time to reap the rewards of it all? Do you take the moments? Do you slow down and say, that was because of what I'm doing? You know, it's not just supposed to be happening. The relationship's not just supposed to be this way. If you want great things, if you want happiness, relationships, deep relationships, anything, career, choices to be good, you can't just have expectation of it and show up and it's because you worked hard. It's there. It's deeper than that. It takes more time than that. It's self-accepting. It's eyes wide open to the fact that you did put yourself there. And then stop in the moment. Holy shit, if I have to go through all the things I've done, it kind of pisses me off a little bit that I didn't stop in those moments. Because like I've done a lot of amazing shit. I've been around unbelievable people, and it just didn't phase me like that. It just didn't hit me in the moments. Like it just, I think part of it was a little bit of, I think part of it got to the point where it's probably a little bit of an ego jumping in the way of my life. Like I deserve because I've worked so hard, or it's part of the process and the journey. It's natural. But it's not. I'm telling you, it's not. It's literally God every single day. What he was doing for me, I know now because I never turned to him for anything. I turned against him every chance I got. I never turned to him for anything. I didn't trust him. I didn't turn to him for anything because I didn't believe in him. I thought he was, for a long time, he was a reason for some of the pain I was dealing with, not showing up for me early on. So I never asked him. I never turned to him. I turned away from him, if anything. And now I know, like, with a little bit of guilt, that holy shit, he spent a ton of time on me, like a ton of time, like too much time on human, that he kept putting these things right in front of my face to show me that, dude, open up, look, it's right in front of you, look. And I wasn't because I was more focused on, what I thought he had done to hurt me than what he was trying to do to heal me and win me back in my own mind. So I think that's part of my growth now is like, I can look at this tea bag, like this coffee cup. I mean, I don't know. Everything around me is like has something on it now. And if you knew my mom, she was like, it was for me, it was weird to listen to. Like she looked at every single thing in this world, everything at a dinner table in such awe in her face. It was insane. It was like she just like wanted to understand how could that be so amazing? How can we have access to this? How is this view this way? How is this plate so nice? Like everything was just like, it's an experience for her. Like she witnessed it for the first time all the way until she was gone. Like it was unbelievable. I never understood it until now, because she had she had reached the point where I don't think I believed that she ever was, and maybe Amber too. I never believed that she was fully happy because it was my judgment on what I thought happiness was for either me or her. But my eyes weren't wide open to the fact that she was really fucking happy, like really all the time. It was just our idea of what we thought we need to find her a man that really loves her the way we do, like all these things. But she needed none of it. I mean, she already had it figured out way before we even knew. And it's because my mom always had her eyes open. Her faith was so freaking strong that didn't matter where Amber and I were at the time in our lives, didn't matter if we believed or not, didn't matter if we supported going to church with her, or if I argued with her for an hour about God not being real, which I've done a million fucking times. Trying to disprove her through science and trying to convince her that it's all bullshit. And she's never even wavered. It was like, okay, yeah, great. I think you're so smart. It was almost like you'll get there. So let's not even argue about it. You know what I mean? And she's dead right. I'm here. Like she knew the whole time, and it was because she had her eyes wide open to life in front of her. What was important to her was these mini successes that were happening all the time, because she did have it really rough growing up. I say we had it tough, but we didn't have shit compared to her. I mean, and my father, but she always looked at that being like, anything else that comes after that is fucking amazing. Like, holy shit. Whereas everything that came to me, I was like, no, it's not enough. Like it's expected. I got to keep going. Because we were looking through different lenses. So when I say eyes wide open, it's like, you can have your eyes wide open and look around, but if you're not trusting in the process and the plan that's already set up for you through God's eyes, it's not the same. It's not just having your eyes wide open or paying attention to a conversation better. If you're not fully vested in the fact that the plan is already laid out for your life, and that you got a protector, and that you have, no matter what shit you're going through, that it truly does not matter. Your back is being watched 24/7 all the time. And when you start building that trust and that faith, that's when I think the vision we talk about all the time of like what we project through our eyes, that player starts playing different tunes in front of you, starts playing different flicks in front of you. They're just freaking amazing to watch. And I think that comes from the full trust and keeping your eyes wide open to what is right in front of you in every moment. Like, what do you have that's in front of you that you just neglect? Right? We all have something, things around us, people around us, we just take for granted, and that we don't lean into an embrace, or we don't water, nourish, let them know, all that stuff. So it's taken me a lot of time. Like I'm a very alone thinker. Like when I need to go through a process and think about something through, and like spend time with myself, if you will, and like go through a problem solving situation, I spend a lot of time alone. Like I isolate myself from anybody around me. You won't hear from me much, but it's because I can't hear chatter well. I can't hear opinions well. I can't hear love from friends well, because I'm not quite there in the problem solving I'm doing in that issue to accept that it's real or not, if that makes sense. So I go in like an isolation tube, think box, and go through all of it so that I can come out of it. And then, if my sister, who does all the time, or even Portia or whatever, but my sister is always constantly telling me stuff about me that most of the time I don't believe, and that's part of me, not her. But if I'm going through something, I isolate it, because if I hear something like that, I think it's just like a band-aid somebody's trying to tell me because they can see the struggle. And for me, that puts me it puts me like backwards, because I feel like I'm taking that shit for granted again. I don't know if all this makes sense, but why it came about is I had a lot of time like away from the phone this past, 4 or 5 days, this past 2 weeks actually. And it's given me a lot of time to think about like things that really, really, really are important. People that are important, things I'm doing, what's not important. What am I wasting time on? What am I spending time on? Who am I spending time on? How much does it take from me? I don't want to just give and like be exhausted, because then I might as well be working again, So I think for me, the message today is eyes wide open with full, literally unconditional love and trust for God's plan for you. And that no matter what's in front of us, that it's supposed to be in front of you, whether it looks bad to you or not. I think sometimes things are packaged differently in our eyes and where we are in our mental state. I think sometimes gifts that are presented to us in our face look like the devil because we're not in a good headspace. A lot of times that's what does happen. It shows up for you to give you the message and the answer you've been looking for, but you can't recognize it because you're not in a good headspace. You don't have the full trust in the message that's being put in front of you. You don't have the full acceptance and faith in God that he would put something like that in front of you. So you look at as maybe a dark point in your life, or another thing that's happening to me. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Like that. But I think when we're in a good headspace, we all know everything looks awesome. When you're having a great time in your life and you're feeling really good, like everything around you is all of a sudden, oh yeah, this is going great. This is awesome. My clients are great. My relationship's awesome. The kids are great. We just want to vacation. It's not a coincidence. That's not like you just got lucky for a stretch a couple weeks. It's really just, it's here. It's how we perceive. You got a text message from somebody, you read it wrong because you're in a pissed off mood. And the person that sent you had no intention whatsoever what you thought. That's communication of how you read it and what state you're in. I think really just our lives are that misconstrued text message, right? That it was sent with complete love and support for your life, which is God. And you were in a pissed off mood, in a bad headspace. So you read it wrong, got offended. And now you're like, how dare you delete it? And I think that's what my life experience has been for me. I've taken all these things that are, if I put it in a storyline and told one of my friends about it, they'd be like, holy shit, like you've done all that. But I was doing that. I was deleting them like it's like, well. So I want to embrace the things that are in front of us. Does anybody have something you want to share about maybe something that has been in your life or was in your life that was right like in front of your nose for an amount of time and you just didn't see it until you did? Some clarity came, or I know a lot of it's when we lose it. A lot of people see this when you lose it. But has anybody seen it when it's right in front of you and you didn't lose it yet? Matt? I'm gonna unmute you.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was just thinking about just my family in general. I'd kind of just look at my situation and, my sister being like a druggie and an addict, and us having to like go through the pain and raise her kids for her. I always like thought that I was like a negative, but it's really just been a blessing. So, and knowing that like God trusted me and our family to accept that responsibility It's made me who I am today. So
Yeah,
grateful for that.
love that, bro. Stepping up for that.
Sorry, I'm trying to make sure they don't drown right now. They're all like kids playing in the pool.
Yeah, keep an eye, dude.
For sure.
Anybody else? I'm not sure. Anybody? Hi, Lally. I just saw your face pop up for the first time. Hi.
I was having the beginning. I was like, what is happening? But I glad to see everybody. I don't know. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, so
I know.
I know that definitely everything we go through is for a reason, whether it's good or bad. I've gotten far just like yourself and been around so many great people. And just like yourself, at the moment I didn't realize like how great everything was presented to me. But everything comes and goes. So you always got to learn from whatever is happening at the time.
Yeah.
So eyes in the present. So that way we're not confused in the future.
Yeah.
You know?
You've taught me a lot of stuff. I appreciate my time with you. You've taught me a lot in witnessing me. But you've also seen me pull away from it, and you understand what I've been talking about this whole time. I mean, Lolly was working in the building with me for quite some time, and she was always on my ass about the stuff I'm dealing with now, like taking a break or
Just stop, dude.
yeah,
I was like,
stop working for a minute.
going, just stop right now. Something's wrong. Take a deep breath.
Making sure she gives me a hug. She's like, "Stop what you're doing. You want a hug?" I'm like, "No, stay away from me."
They'll give it to you anyways.
Yeah, just follow me around the building so I get it. No,
I
but
was
I
those
appreciate
hugs cold.
Anybody else want to share something? Any moments? Eyes wide open moment, Amber? It's coming on it. Oh, there you go.
I mean, two things came up for me. The first thing that was coming up for me just while you were talking was just like the self-love piece. Like, I'm a little bit opposite you in that I've tried to make my life the opposite. Like, I watched mom work, 3 jobs morning till night her entire life. So I made sure I didn't have a life like that because I really wanted to be present and be in the moment and notice the miracles and take that part from her. But like you, I fought her tooth and nail on so many things for so long, and I don't know why I spent so much time questioning everything and not just accepting her and life as it was and being grateful for the life we had. And so, like, yeah, we had it tough and whatnot, but in the comparison to like the world population, we had food and shelter and mashed potatoes and chicken cutlets and applesauce and a mom who loved us and
Bacon.
tried to teach us about God and just made sure we had everything we ever needed, and all she wanted to do was love us and have us feel love. And even though we got to have some good times in our adult life, every moment she's gone and every picture of her smiling, that's the shame, is that we couldn't have embraced that more so then. And so to even do it more now. And the other thing that comes up is for me, like, not being a workaholic, working to meet my needs and knowing that I'm rich in personal freedom and that, money is going to come and go and that I'll always be taken care of. I've never really worried about like money in that aspect, but the self-love piece is still interesting to me because sometimes, like, after living your whole life in fight or flight and then realizing there's no lion chasing you and everything is fine, and I live on a lake and I do what I want and I work how I want, and I've created a life that I want. And I think that I thought that when we would get to this place, that then when I looked at myself or in the moments of peace where I'm in total gratitude and I can't even find anything to complain about or anything that's wrong, there's still a part of me that's just like the inner sadness or the, lack of self-love or whatever that is. And, I know that God's so disappointed in that realm, because why? Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong, and we're not being bombed, and we're not hungry, and we're so comfortable, and we can do anything. And any one of us could probably get in a car right now and drive to the other one, no matter what state we're in right now, and figure it out. But I think the existential sadness of whether that's of the world or of something that's imprinted is the hardest thing to shake. So yeah, I don't know. I'm so grateful all the time. And there's still something, that kind of wavers in the void. But my eyes are wide open, and I try to stay in a grateful present moment as much as possible.
I love that. I think that's good. I mean, that's a good example. And Amber just shared a very good example of, like, sometimes when you think you have set yourself up for the life you want, that there's always still something sometimes popping up. And I think now, I believe now, that is God's test constantly. It's like, you're never going to be fully content because then you're unchallenged in life. I think what he's doing is he's making sure he's still there. There's no end to your self growth. You're growing in your own self, and that small thing, maybe that what you hear or you see or sometimes you feel. I think that's the test still. It's like, what else can you do? What else can you challenge yourself to do? Maybe you're so content, your life is good. What can you do now to show that example? So I love that example, Amber. Portia or Carrie, you want to share anything? You lovely souls. Yeah,
I think that for me, like, I always think that everything that I've gone through, I've always thought of it as a blessing. I mean, and I always thought, I know that God was telling me something, and that a lot of times, I know Amber's always saying that, like, when God or the universe, they want to create something new. Well, what does God do? He uses his people, right? We're his vessels. And that's when people get shooken up. And I know we've always talked about, like, it's too bad we have to go through that bad experience to then have all of this gratitude for, like, life, right? We should just already have that there and know that it's there, and that unconditional love. But again, I think that's all part of the growth and part of God's plan, where he's like, he wants to shake you up because he wants you to keep growing. And if we never went through those hard times or those valleys that we always talk about, then you're not doing life right, because you're not going to ever grow, and you're not going to be able to be your best version of yourself. Or I think we're always part of Earth School, right? And we're always going to grow. And that's what we all came here to do. And we all came here to be an example and a model for everyone, and to learn from everyone. We can always learn something from everyone. And I think, yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and I think sometimes people, they question, like, what's right in front of them, because I think a lot of times God will send us those blessings when we're not even looking, or least expecting them. And then we'll question that, like, is this too good to be true? Or like, because we've been hurt in the past, we've been broken, or our hearts aren't open. And then we start to question it, we start to think, and then we just let it pass us by. It's like we turn off that spiritual GPS from God, just like the ego comes in and says, or the monkey mind, and we get into the analysis paralysis, and we're just like, okay, and we get into the logical thinking instead of putting it in the heart thinking. And what we're looking for, like you said, it's all the time probably right in front of us, or what we need is right in front of us.
I think you're 100%. I think most of the time what we need is sitting right in front of us, almost
right.
All times.
That a lot of times, well, one, it's scary to take a leap, right? It's scary to step into the unknown, because we're comparing it one to the past, or it's scary to change. It's a commitment. It's
it's comfort. It's standing outside of it.
Oh, right. It's yeah. And like, when we don't want to step into the unknown, and I think a lot of people, they see what's right in front of them, but they don't want to make that commitment, because then they get into, they start to get the beliefs that come in, or the projecting something out, and they think, okay, well, maybe I'm not good enough for that. Or if they start to analyze, or they think, And I always think like, okay, well, what's the worst that can happen? I take this leap. Like, what's the worst that could happen? I know Amber always says that. What are the blessings that can come out of it, right? And you just have to look at it like that. She always says, what are the blessings that are going to come out of it? And when you look at it like that, instead of thinking like what could go wrong, then you just all, it's like you get enthusiastic and you want to go do it. And you're like ready to just jump and take the leap because you know that something's going to come out of it.
You bring up a good point in the middle of your talk there about having to go through the bad to see the good and all that stuff, and you're not living life right. And the reality of it is, and with your brain is, you can't respect a good thing that's happening to you. You don't have any relativity to bad. If you've always been handed, if we were born with the gratitude, we were born with the happiness and the skills to have empathy, and we're just born with it, and you just, there you go, you're off. You would do what I just explained that I did for the past 10 years of my life. I just ran in a direction, and I wasn't even respecting and understanding what was right in front of my face majority of the time. The greatness that was being shown to me at every different level, I didn't see it. I barely even saw it. It felt like a flashing moment. I wasn't respecting how I got there, or the truth of it is, I wouldn't respect the shit I went through as a child in my own brain to know that had to happen so I can see all these great things. Those came to me out of balance in my life. They didn't come to me because I worked hard. They didn't come to me because I had a company or I was any special gift in golf. It was because he was balancing my life. He was showing me that all of this equals that, right? And then I can decipher moving forward of what is good and bad, and what feels good and what doesn't, and how do you treat people and don't, and what is success and what isn't, and what is happiness and not, and what are good relationships and not. But if you have zero comparison, I mean, holy shit, that'd be a terrible life too. It'd be worse than going through bad to get good. I mean, so I think 100% right in the fact you got to know what the bottom is to see the top. Carrie?
Yeah, my thoughts really align so much with what Portia said. I just couldn't have said it quite so eloquently. But my faith for sure keeps me grateful. But what you said too about headspace also struck a chord, because, I think sometimes if you're not in a good place, so many of the things that we busy ourselves with are a distraction, from all the blessings, So I don't know. I feel like, gratitude is like a muscle, you have to practice, working it out. And so.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
You are
Love that.
Thanks.
that's a great one. I like that. Yeah, I think you and I have shared this conversation a lot, Carrie, about like, I think that space. We've had many conversations in that area.
Yeah.
It's so funny how it can change so quickly, and it feels like in the greatness, it's like everything is flowing. Everything is absolutely perfect. It feels good. Everything's nice. You feel like you look in the mirror and you look nice, and everything is nice around you. It's all good. And in moments it can literally flip to, you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror. If I don't look good in my clothes, like it's amazing how it could do that. But again, I believe now that it's not what's happening to us, it's what's happening for us, to let you have more of those moments of knowing the confidence of what you are and who you are to people, and how important you are, like to yourself, but then to everybody else. Like when one of you guys miss a group, like I miss you. When one of you guys aren't around, like it's important. Like I miss the absence of the presence. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why we keep our eyes open too. So we're running out of time. I can't thank you guys enough. Like I love you guys, like with everything I got. Like, this is probably one of the, if I'm keeping my eyes open to the important things in my life, this is probably one of the most important things that I am doing today, and one of the most important things in my life. And that includes you guys. So I appreciate you all. I love you. And I appreciate you showing up every week. And I'll see you for Monday. next Monday.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.